Hello everyone and welcome to today's post-game stream. Hopefully it's not too laggy. I had to restart my computer, get a few things going, but I think we're running smoothly. Again, please let us know in chat if you're tuning into this. I'm your host Josh Gosse alongside my co-host Jesse Poirier, and we're going to break down this Habs Blackhawks game. And boy, Jesse, what a game it was. The Habs come out and get a shutout. They continue their winning streak from the weekend. What are you seeing in this Habs team that just hasn't been there the rest of the season?
Well, for me, it's just a complete effort. It was one of those games where you just had to be happy with the lineup everywhere. You know, whether it was Drouin, whether it was Dadonov, Savard. And, speaking of which, Savard, our defense, I think that was really our key to victory tonight.
Yeah, I think so too. Our defensemen, again, I mean, it's in the title. Justin Barron firing a shot from the point that goes in. David Savard, noted sniper, comes in off an interesting pass from Alex Belzile and puts it right past, I believe, Stauber was the name of Chicago's goaltender tonight. Man, it was a crazy game, like you said. We got some points from all around the board. Jesse, I wanted to start on something interesting early in the first period. We had a fight very, very early in this game, and it's Josh Anderson going after Murphy, and he seemed to drop him, and then we had a fight later in the game where Pezzetta goes after one of the 17 Johnsons Chicago has. Do you think any of this has to do with the fact that Jack-Eye might be out of the lineup, so some other guys are trying to step up their physicality and fill in that fighting role?
Yeah, it's just things that need to be done, and I was really happy with Josh Anderson stepping up for Nick Suzuki on a hit. Even though it was a clean hit, sometimes you just want to stand up for your teammate. You know what? And I totally get that. And then at the end, Pezzetta, with the fight, our fourth line spark plug. I really liked his energy all night. We saw he had that big hit on Domi earlier on in the game. Kind of answering the bell after a very long shift. So big respect for him for still answering the call and doing well in that tilt.
Yeah, for sure. Let's take a look at the chat. We got Zen saying better, no lag. Dylan saying much better. This is awesome, guys. I'm glad this one's a lot better. And we got Dylan saying the boys played really well tonight on both ends, and Allen played really well as well. We're going to play the Jake the Snake animation. Jake Allen had a shutout tonight. I know only 20 saves, but it's the Chicago Blackhawks. But at the same time, a lot of credit has to go to Montreal's defense, I think, Jesse, for keeping Chicago, as maybe, not a great roster they have there, but Montreal still managed to do what they needed to do against a bad team, keep him to the outside, not really force Jake Allen to make too many tough saves, and Allen was up to the task. Were you impressed with Allen tonight? Do you think this is something he can continue as we move on?
Yeah, because, for sure, like you mentioned, just over 20 saves, but, there were still some quality ones there all the same. So I thought he did a great job, but I think his defense definitely helped him out a lot tonight. And I think, Josh, this has been a trend that we've been seeing over the last couple of the games after this break where the defense is doing such a good job of realizing when to activate in the play, realizing, okay, this is where I'm going to create a man advantage. And where I can really make something happen, and recognizing it when that's not the case, and then really sticking back so they can be in good position to help everyone else on their team.
That is an awesome point, Jesse. I think Montreal really perfectly exhibited exactly that and exactly what we want them to do on a night-to-night basis. And Jesse, one thing I wanted to say is that, playing against a team like Chicago, who's really a bottom feeder in the NHL, this game tonight proved to me why Montreal shouldn't just tank down the standings for Connor Bedard, because that Chicago team tonight, that's what a tanking team looks like. What Montreal has been doing, as much as we want that first overall pick, we're far better than that. The team chemistry is way better. The effort is way better. A lot of these Chicago guys weren't putting in the effort they should, so it was just an all-around great game. And this next comment from Zen Mysterio, is something that is going to transition nicely into sort of my main point of tonight. But he says that one assist where Armia sent the puck through two Chicago players straight to Dvorak, and he sniped it. That was beautiful. It was, and that play was started by Jonathan Drouin, who has been amazing, right? Jonathan Drouin earlier had that amazing cross-crease pass to Armia, where all three of those forwards, Dvorak, Drouin, and Armia, all got points on that play, and then Drouin comes down the wing, gives it to Armia behind the net, through two players, right to Dvorak, who snipes it again. Guys, Jonathan Drouin has 12 assists in his last 12 games. Jesse, I know we were saying what our team's going to pay for him at the deadline, but this uptick in production is kind of out of nowhere, is it not?
He was great all game tonight, and it's just really nice to see. You saw him playing with that effort. So it's just so nice to see him getting that first start of the game. That's got to definitely help his confidence. But, we're seeing good chemistry with himself, Dvorak, and Armia. And then I would argue, even like our second line, Dadonov and Hoffman, are playing well together as well, which is so funny. It's like Hoffman's like almost like he's got me thinking during this game. It's like kind of changing my mind. Like, is this somebody that I want to keep around in the future? And the answer is still no, unfortunately. But he got me thinking about it over the course of the game. So it's interesting that even though we've been having these injuries, that we're still having that chemistry, and so happy to see Jonathan Drouin finding that on his line.
It's actually funny. I saw a tweet from Arpon Basu at the end of the second period. He said, quote, "Hockey is like a series of multiple choice questions. I can't imagine Hoffman was good at multiple choice quizzes as a kid." And I know it's a bit out of pocket from Arpon Basu, but still kind of funny in the comment. Let's go back to our chat. Speaking of comments, we got Lil Pump. Let's go. Love the lives. Thank you very much. We love doing these lives. This one still looks maybe a little choppy here and there, but we're trying our best, and we love bringing our content to you guys right away. We got Soka, channel member, one of our channel members. Hey Soka, send some of the emotes you have access to. Hit the ad reaction at the bottom. And we got a couple nice emotes you can send in chat. I'll show you guys an example of that. But thank you very much for stopping by. And as a channel member, we're going to read your message first here. Andy letting the league know, even though Wi-Fi's gone, you can't be running our guys. Not just Andy, Soka. We saw Pezzetta too. And later in that game, Jesse, I don't know if you caught much of that Pezzetta fight, but the Blackhawks, one of the Johnsons, went after Pezzetta for that hit that he had on Matt Domi that ended up sending Domi to the locker room. And Pezzetta just took a bunch of punches. Took about 15-20 punches, lands one right to the jaw, and drops Johnson. Like we said, these guys are stepping up for Jack-Eye, but isn't it cool that Montreal has 2, 3, maybe even 4 guys that could really drop the mitts on any given night to protect their stars?
Yeah, absolutely. And showing a lot of heart. He kind of gets rushed, but he's just staying calm, staying cool. He's tired after a big shift, but then kind of biding his time, getting in that big shot and still kind of finishing it. Like, what an awesome atmosphere it was, tonight, guys. Like, in just watching the game, I imagine being at the Bell Center. Like, the game was a little bit tight through those first 2 periods. But then in that third period, like, what an atmosphere. We're having the waves going around a whole bunch of times. People are singing John Denver in the crowds. It's a good game when.
Yeah, Jesse, I think our stream might be frozen there now. I'm gonna act as if it's not, but I'm not sure. It looks like it's frozen again. Unfortunately, it looks like maybe the computer just can't quite handle what's going on here. Yeah, we're at very high CPU usage, so I'm gonna keep an eye on that right now to see if it unfreezes. I'm gonna send a message in chat. Is it frozen for anyone? Whoops. And if it is frozen, then we might have to call it early, but. That'd really be a shame. That'd really be a shame, because I do not want that to happen. And if this is the case, we might have to stop with the lives. That's interesting because we had no issues with the last few lives. I feel like we got a huge snowstorm here. Maybe it's hitting on the internet. I'm not really sure. I'm gonna check it out on my phone. See if I can hop in here. I think Marty will play. Jake, your stream is fine on my end, not frozen. I got a text from Ben saying stream is good. Well, it looks frozen on my screen. I'm going to keep rolling then. If you guys are saying it's not frozen, then it's not frozen. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. All right, Jesse, good point. It's really weird looking at a frozen screen, but it's awesome to hear that it's not. So let's get into the next comment. FRD, really fun to watch the Habs play lately. Seems like the new players are improving since the start of the season. That's been something we've mentioned a lot, Jesse. A lot of the rookies and even new members of the team have just been doing amazing. Raphael RV-Pinard, Arbor Jack-Eye, even Uri Slavkovsky before these guys all got hurt. So it is really a shame, but thank you guys for all the comments letting us know we're all good. Awesome to hear. Really, really glad that everything's working fine. We got Zen saying, do you think Marty will play Jake Allen next game and let him ride the momentum, or play Monty? Jesse, that's an interesting question. Allen's been great these last 2 games. Do you think Marty goes with Allen or goes with Monty? I'll give this question up to you.
It's a great question. I think in Marty's mind, he's still going to give the lion's share to Jake Allen. I know Monty's done so much this season, but I think he still needs to do a little bit more to get it. But I think, if Monty still keeps taking advantage of his opportunities, he's going to be there. So tough to say. I think that Jake Allen probably gets the next start, though, and then it'll definitely go to Montembeault after that.
Yeah, and superfan Soka agrees with you, Jesse, channel member. Got to give it to Allen after a shutty. He says so true. He really agrees with us. I think that's true. Jake Allen, he's been injured a bit. Monty has been amazing, but I think if you're Martin St. Louis, there's no benefit to taking away the hot hand from Jake Allen. I think you just ride whoever's hot at this point in the season. Like we said, we're not trying to lose at this point, so I think it's a great idea to just ride whoever's hot, give him that extra confidence as we move on into the future. Dylan says, you can really tell, what is that? You can really tell that this team wants to play for each other, and it's amazing to see. That's a great point too, Jesse. These guys not only are working together chemistry on the ice, but there's a lot of chemistry off the ice, and they want to work for each other and the coach. We've heard so much about how much the players admire Coach Martin St. Louis and the rest of the coaching staff, but also how much they admire each other. How much of that do you think goes into the wins as of late?
It's a huge part of it, and it's so interesting to see that when we're having the most injuries of any part of the year is when we're actually having the most chemistry. But, it kind of makes sense. We're a lot of young guys. You can tell probably they have a lot of the same interests and everything like that. And we've seen the initiatives that Nick Suzuki has taken even with young players when they're having their first games in the NHL, as we saw with Owen Beck, making sure they feel part of the team, going out for dinners together. These things are hugely, hugely important. You spend a lot of time together. It's important to enjoy that time and be close together as a team. So I think that we're having just an overall good team culture, and I think that Marty St. Louis, once again, is the author of that.
And Jesse, I think we got a good stream culture as well, because we have our first ever Super Chat on Habs Digest Live. Lil Pump says he loves the Habs Digest Lives. Well, we love you, Lil Pump. We're so appreciative of everyone coming into the lives. Thank you so much for the $2 donation. This is just really amazing. We're so appreciative of everyone that tunes into all these streams, every single one. The success has been amazing, from our game live stream to my post game yesterday or 2 days ago, whenever that was, to today's post game. I mean, this is just awesome. So thank you so much for the super chat. Again, guys, don't feel like you need to donate or anything like that, but again, if you have some extra money, whatever, it's super, super appreciated. Thank you very much. We'll get into Ben's comment here. He says, secondary scoring is improving, picking up the slack from recent injuries. Dylan agrees. Gary says, well said. Very, very good point, Ben. Jesse, he's right. Secondary scoring, but I think it's interesting that a lot of the secondary scoring, even though tonight we had that Drouin, Dvorak, Armia line rolling really, really well, we're also getting scoring from our defense. It feels like scoring's coming from everywhere for Montreal right now.
And I'm so happy about that, because one of the key things I'm taking from tonight is that Montreal is showing discipline. And I find that that's so important, because that means that Martin St. Louis' concepts are finally really starting to take hold, and they're really respecting him as a coach, because we're seeing that in the way that they're playing, knowing when to join the play, when to stay back, having a good system, and really staying true to that. That's the reason why we've been having success over these last 3 games.
Yeah, very, very good point, Jesse. This team is just... It's really interesting to see the developments of this team throughout the season. We've had some really high highs, especially early in the year, to some real low lows in that losing streak in January, but things are finally coming around and things are clicking at a pretty good time for these guys. We have FRD saying, do you think Raphael Harvey-Pinard can continue to be a first-line player, because the goals he scored seemed like more good timing than skill-based scoring? Maybe this is just my observation. So, I have an interesting point to bring up on that, and I've seen some people say this, and I kind of agree. RHP is showing some, Zach Hyman-esque type plays, and what I mean by that is that, yes, some of his goals are maybe not the most skilled, but he's able to put away the chances when they're there, and he elevates his play when he's playing with other elite players around him. We see Hyman has had the chance to play with the likes of McDavid and Matthews, and not because he's the most skilled player to play on the wing for them, but because he's a perfect fit on that line who is able to capitalize on the chances that he gets. So, to answer your question, I think if RHP continues to put up the point totals and still be an energy guy for that line, I don't see why they'd take him off, right? What do you think, Jesse?
That is a great analogy with Zach Hyman and RHP. Both kind of gritty players, but also has that skill as well and can really elevate their play. And I'm glad that you're kind of making me think about this right now, Josh. You raise a very good point. I think that he could be a great energy guy on a line with Caulfield and Suzuki when, of course, Cole is back. So that would be very interesting to take a look at. I really, really hope that he carves out a space for himself, not just this year, but next year is what I'm really keeping my eye on, because I would just love to see him on the team next year. Somebody like him who just plays with that energy. Because I'm going to tell you, Josh, when I see a player playing like that, forechecking hard, and like what I saw, in that first period, Pezzetta just skating earlier in the game, making a big hit. I saw that, and I was like, okay, this is just a good sign for the rest of the game. We're playing with energy. For sure, maybe we weren't getting the most shots, through that first period. Mm-hmm. But just those little plays like that RHP often makes, that we've seen from the likes of Alex Belzil, Michael Pezzetta, a lot of these guys from the AHL that are setting that example is like, make no mistake about it, like hockey's made up of these little plays, these little energy plays that you do to create momentum, and has very real effects on the game. Is you're, giving less time to the opposition to make plays. You're, making them get hit. You're making them second guess themselves. So anything you can do to kind of impose your will on this other team, like we've been seeing from RHP, just really willing himself and his team to success. I'm all here for it.
I'm all here for it too. I think that is an excellent analysis as well. Boy, we could talk about RHP for days, couldn't we? This guy, the energy he's shown, the ability he's shown to put the puck in the back of the net when given the opportunity is pretty nuts. Jesse, we have Austin in chat saying, love you, Jesse, with a big heart. We got Soka saying, let's go at Low Pump. Soka's hyped for the donation, as you guys should be too. Give hype. If you see a donation, say thank you to Lil Pump. Say thank you to Soka for being a Habs Digest super fan. Jesse, I wanted to get into a couple other things too here. Let me see here. What did I have? So I wanted to talk about this. We're a bit late into this, and this wasn't a huge moment in the game, but I wanted to get your thoughts on this. And you guys who are there in chat who can hear me, I want to know your guys' thoughts on this as well. Max Domi got a tribute tonight. Brett Kulak didn't. And I know Max Domi was a better player, but why do you guys think that Max Domi gets one when maybe some other ex-Habs didn't? Is it because of the few amazing seasons great seasons he did have with Montreal? Jesse, I thought that was a bit weird. I feel like I saw a lot of people saying well, why didn't Kulak get it? And especially since Domi has been not exactly, he's maybe not the most well received around the league, let alone in Montreal. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think there should just be a rule, if you play at least a full season with any team, you should get the tribute. You know what I mean? You're an NHL player. You've obviously helped them out. I think it's in good taste to either kind of just do it around the board if you've been around the team for, actually contributed to them, or not do it at all. But, let's face it, Domi's putting up some good totals. He's tied with Patrick Kane for the most on the Chicago Blackhawks with 35 points. So I think, just the profile of the player, of course, just the notoriety with his father being in the NHL for so long as well, I think kind of plays in part in that. People, he had his fans when he was in Montreal, and I remember him making some good plays while he was here, of course. But yeah, I definitely agree with you, Josh. It's, Kulak was here for a long time too. He contributed a lot. I think, he should have definitely got a tribute as well.
Yeah, and it seems like some people in the chat seem to agree. TBH, Max Domi did not deserve that tribute. It's a good point. Didn't even think about it. It's kind of weird. Yeah, it is a little weird. Just wanted to bring that up. Thought it was strange. I know I was upset with Brett Kulak a lot when he was a Montreal Canadian. He was still young, making mistakes, but at the same time, he was on that Stanley Cup Finals run team, and he did contribute to the Habs. So, I mean, I thought that maybe either if Domi didn't get one, that's maybe okay if Kulak didn't get one, but if Domi got one, I think Kulak should have got one too. We got another chat from Soka saying, I don't think Raphael Harvey-Pinard is a first-line guy when we are healthy, but he's definitely NHL worthy. Hope to see him on the team next year, second or third line, and I think that's a great take. I think that's a much more realistic expectation, though. I will say, if he, like we've said, if he keeps up that level of play, I don't see why he can't stay on that first line if he's a good fit and things all click together. But I think a more realistic expectation is maybe somewhere a little bit down in the lineup. Brett says, seems more like a popularity contest. Domi was somewhat exciting Montreal. Kulak was an NPC. I mean, I think some of that does play into it, though, right, Jesse? Exactly like you said, though. It's a lot of name power, and Brett Kulak has almost none of that, except for being known as the guy that got the Habs, Lane Hudson.
It's true, but he hasn't played too bad, in his time with the Oilers as well, and kind of makes you think if we're maybe underestimating him a little bit. He was definitely very solid for us for a lot of years. But yeah, it's just kind of one of those things where it's, when you're the one scoring a little bit more goals, right? It just kind of, you kind of get a little bit more attention that way.
Jesse, You won't believe it. We got our second super chat. I need a W in the chat from everyone. Some emotes. Soka, send some of those Habs Digest members emotes. Let me send that super chat animation. Jay Fallardo, $6.99. No message. Jay, if you want to follow up with anything you want us to talk about, feel free to send it in the chat. We'll gladly talk about whatever point you have. Thank you so much for the donation. Really, really appreciate it. God, like, the fact that you guys are willing to give that to us is so phenomenal. Jesse, like, I mean, I'm thrilled. What about you? That's crazy.
Well, we love doing this for you guys, but just the support and everything else, and just the positivity we get, like, with every video, like, pretty much, like, from the beginning, like, we can't tell you, like, it actually means a lot to us. We love covering the Habs, but just getting that support, and everything else, yeah, like you said, Josh, it means the world to us.
Yeah, well, thank you guys for supporting Jay and that. I see some W's in there. Thank you so much. Man, amazing. Again, Jay, if you want to send a message about anything else, we'll be glad to talk about it. Let's get to the other messages we have in chat. Ben says, RHP definitely has top 6 potential, though. Second line winger is a possibility if he continues this way in the future. For sure, great point. Soka agrees with you. Zen says, maybe Domi got the tribute because they wanted to tribute Luke Richardson in his return, and they just said, why not? That would make sense. Interesting. Yeah, Luke Richardson, Jesse.
Yeah? What?
Very underrated. I mean, I remember during that playoff push, I was one of the Habs fans that was saying, no, let Luke stay on the bench. Don't let Ducharme back in the building. Keep planting COVID on him. I mean, Luke Richardson had a really underrated tenure in Montreal, and I feel like he's kind of forgotten. But, man, were you on board with the Luke Richardson train as maybe being one of the next Habs coaches at the time?
Yeah, he looked really comfortable behind the bench, and
Yeah.
there is just something you could tell that he was going to be a head coach soon, and you could tell that the players really liked him as well. Now, we won't get into too much Ducharme bashing, sorry, Josh, here, but there's definitely been some rumors, right, that the troops are definitely rallying, for Richardson especially when he kind of took over as interim head coach and everything like that. So, I mean, great to see him getting his opportunity, though.
Yeah, I agree. It's pretty cool for him. I mean, he's inherited not such a great team, but I'm sure once they're in full rebuild mode, which they kind of are now, we know Patrick Kane's going to get moved, so keep an eye on them. Keep an eye on Luke Richardson. Ex-Habs are almost always welcome to talk about on this stream. So let's take a look here. We got Soka says it might also be because of Domi's 70-point season. That's also kind of true, I suppose. Like, but again, I think that just goes back to like star power, name power. But that, like, yeah, he was amazing for Montreal, but at the same time, like, Kulak still contributed a lot, so it's a weird thing I don't really want to get into, but, yeah, that also plays a role. Jesse, we got Brendan. Brendan's tuned into the streams, but he says, hey, boys, can't tune in tonight. In the bathroom at a restaurant right now. Go Habs go, and go at Habs Digest. Brendan, the fact that you even came into the bathroom at the restaurant, I hope you're not having too bad of a trip to the toilet there, but thank you so much for tuning in. Means a lot just to know that you're here along with us, along for these streams. Really, really appreciate it. So thank you, Brendan. We recognize you. Always welcome back in the stream. We'll give you a warm welcome. Soka loves the total NPC comment as he spams some of his or her more emotes. Yeah, so it's those emotes are so cool. My favorite one's the Kirby one, of course. Riley got a question for you, Jesse. Jesse, who had the better fight, Anderson or Pez? What was your choice between those two tonight?
I just really liked it from Pez just because he was just so cool. He literally gets rushed, which, I mean, isn't a bad way to, but just the way that he stayed so composed there. He's tired, it's like a boxer and he's there. And it's the 12th round, but really just kind of standing his ground, taking quite a few body shots there. Still standing his ground, though, but like you said, just uncorking that right when it was the time. I think he just showed some great patience, the great counterpunch there and getting over top of him at the end. Then the big belly arms up in the air at the end is riling up and already pumped, Habs crowd. I think that was just an awesome way to cap off the game tonight.
Yeah, I was maybe going to think about going on the opposite with Anderson, but I can't. Yeah, Anderson sparked the game. We got a goal not that long after it, but that fight wasn't as much of a fight. The Pezzetta fight with Johnson had a lot more punches thrown, but just the way Pezzetta ends his fights, because he's fought a few times this year when he just, like, bends down and he flicks his hair back and he just puts his arms out, like, look at me. I am the Montreal Canadian. You need to watch me. And yeah, plus that just one punch drop, like, it doesn't get any better than that. Jesse, I wanted, to mention one other player tonight, at least one other player, and that's Mike Matheson. I feel like, I don't know if he got on the score sheet tonight, but it felt like he looked maybe faster than he has all season in this game. And a few times, I think I saw some tweets saying at one point he saved more shots than Jake Allen. The amount of times he got in the way of high danger scoring chances, whether getting a stick on it or getting his body on the shot, was phenomenal. He made a couple of amazing plays to keep the puck in the offensive zone. Did you notice that from Matheson tonight? And have you felt like me, seeing that Matheson has maybe gotten better every single game since his return from his most recent injury?
He has been getting a lot better, and he was rewarded with a lot of minutes tonight, a lot of ice, and I think a part of that was just due to his goaltending skills. I think that maybe he played a little bit of that when he was younger, because he made a couple kick saves. Like, he saved 2 goals tonight. One of them being just an absolute kick save and a beauty. But yeah, and just not only that, but also being able to jump into the play and just that mobility, right? Which we're kind of lacking besides him. He's very unique on our team in terms of providing that. You could say that maybe Harris is maybe our second best skater on our D-core besides Matheson, so he does provide a really important element to our team. And I'm happy because this is something that we've been looking for kind of since the beginning of the season. He didn't have the best luck with injury. He did always show these glimpses of, just great talent. But I think right now he's just being a lot more consistent in his game.
I think you're right. And actually, as we said that, Jesse, I just saw that Eric Engels tweeted out a great quote from Mike Matheson. So I'm just going to read it to you guys since we're on the topic. And Zen even said Matheson's skating was amazing tonight. I completely agree. And that's part of the reason we got him. But here's the Matheson quote. Quote, "It's just such a cool feeling when I look up in the stands and think, wow, I sat there and I sat there," because of course Matheson is from Quebec and he's from nearby Montreal, right? He says, "Wow, I sat there. We didn't have all the money in the world, but we loved the Canadiens, and my dad made every effort to get 1 ticket a year to come watch, and I remember those. We always sat at home when we couldn't go and watched every game. I wanted to say this when I was first star the other day, but I don't know if I just wasn't confident enough in my French, but I just wanted to be like, I was one of you guys, and it wasn't that long ago, and I hope you guys appreciate that I'm still one of you, and I'm giving it my all for you guys." I mean, that's just so amazing from Mike Matheson, Jesse. As unfortunately, I gotta cut that short because we got another $7 super chat coming in from Ben Loman-Rail. Ben has had some amazing comments here so far tonight because, Ben, I'm sure you've noticed a lot of the other chatters here are on board with you. We need some more fire emos. Look, my brother Nick is even hopping in here. Nick, I hope your Jays stuff is going well. Check out Jays Digest if you guys haven't. My brother Nick is one of the hosts over there. Great channel as well. Thank you so much, Ben. Let's get to your message. Keep up the high quality coverage, boys. Been watching everything since your first video. All future success deserved. Go Habs, go. Thank you so much, Ben. I mean, since our first video, that's amazing. Jesse, do you remember our first video? I say that as if it was 5 years ago, but it was back in September, October. But just the distance we've come since then, not only in subscribers, but in the quality of our content, the comfortableness behind the camera. It's kept a lot of you guys around, including Ben. So it's just phenomenal to hear that some people have been there since the get-go.
Yeah, no, we definitely appreciate that, and it's been fun since the beginning. That's what we said to each other just after the first one, like, wow, just so much, such a great time. And, this is how Josh and we got to meet each other was, as being Habs fan and kind of getting introduced to each other as this way. And so great to kind of meet a new friend in Josh, but then we're able to make so many other friends now, as people kind of follow the channel because, we get to know you guys as well, right? And that's what I like about doing the chats after the game is people that we see commenting after other videos. Now we're able to interact. Now we're able to have a conversation. I think that's the cool part about it. And there's, keeping it fresh and just always having so many great things to have a conversation on as a community, I think is what's just made this fun and made the time go by so quickly.
Yeah, I can't explain how crazy it is because we're just like two dudes. We just started this kind of out of the blue with the help from the fine people like Ben Rogers at Digest Media. We were able to start this channel, and just the speed at which it grew, the support that everyone gave us, it's just been phenomenal. And to hear that people are watching what we put out every single day, I've even had interactions in real life where someone's like, I watch your videos every day, and to me that's crazy. So you guys don't understand how awesome it is to hear this kind of stuff from you. Jesse, I was gonna get to the other chats, but Nick came in hot. Nick saying the Jets are winning the cup this year. Unfortunately, I have to shout Nick out. Sadly, he's in the other room. He can probably actually hear me streaming this. Thanks, Nick. 279, amazing. Thank you so much for the super chat. No, seriously though, amazing to get any type of donation. Nick says Jets are winning the cup this year. Jesse, I will say I don't really like the Jets, especially after the Mark Scheifele incident. But do you think they might have an outside shot at the cup? We're gonna give Nick the light of day here. He sent a super chat. We gotta talk a little bit about it. Connor Hellebuck's been amazing. Do you think maybe they have an outside shot?
They have an outside shot because they play the type of hockey that gets you wins in the playoffs, and you know, they have a hot goalie, right? And I think that's all you need sometimes going in, that type of combination of hard nose with, you know, some good skill, which they've had for some years, some depth as well. You put that with a hot goaltender, yeah, definitely they have an outside chance.
Yeah, okay, cool. So we've addressed the Jets thing. Thank you very much, Nick, of course, for the 279. Really, really appreciated. And I got to get to some of these other chats here because the chat's coming flying. I didn't expect this to be so difficult to keep up with, Jesse. But we actually got a chat from Jay, our first $7 donation of the night. We got a lot of W's for Ben's donation, of course, too, and Nick's. But Jay says future second line. So I guess this is what we're going to consider his donation message. Raphael Harvey-Pinard, Kirby Dach, Uri Slafkovsky. Give me your thoughts.
Oh, man, I really love that. I really love that because I think we're going to be able to find somebody on that first line, which will kind of free Dach up to center his own line. I think that Uri Slafkovsky should be playing on the second line with the like of Dach. And then adding like an energy guy and a really quick guy in Raphael Harvey-Pinard, I think is a great combination together. You know, I think Raphael, like what he's doing is, you know, he's put up some of the highest point totals ever in the amount of games since he's been here, you know, and I think it's easy to discount it because he's a 7th round draft pick. But I mean, you got to give the man some respect. And until his play dips down, until he's not playing like that anymore, you gotta put him in chances to succeed, which I think Martin St. Louis will continue to do.
I think it's really interesting because if Slafkovsky can turn into that kind of power forward with a hard shot that's like a 20-30 goal threat, along with Kirby Dach's amazing playmaking and also physicality on offense, plus like that line is physical. That line is crashing, getting to the dirty areas, but also with an amazing scoring touch. I think that's a great suggestion. I can see Ben saying he had the same thoughts. So awesome suggestion, Jay. I really like that. I gotta scroll down here and see what else we got. Matheson, the Pointe Claire boy. Yes, of course. Yeah, that's where he's from. So, Jesse, you're maybe more familiar with where that is. But we got Ben saying, glad to support you guys. You started a high bar and have grown quickly. Yeah, I mean, we try to put out the best content we can. We don't like to take videos off. We don't like to mail it in, as people like to say. We want to put out the best possible content for you guys. The latest news, rumors, everything, as you guys know. On that note, guys, quick reminder, we're at 40 concurrent viewers. We got 22 likes on the stream. You guys have been so supportive in chat, so if you notice you just haven't hit the thumbs up, do it now. It helps boost this video. Of course, after the stream ends, this will go out as a post-game video on its own, so please hit that like button so other people can see it. Come rewatch this stream and hopefully tune into the next one. It'd be really appreciated. Dylan says you love to hear that, and I feel the passion for this logo just runs through the team, especially with people like that. For sure, Roger says let's get the team to 500. That'd be crazy, Jesse. What if we finish the season closer to 500? I know the playoffs were an interesting proposition early in the season, but with this recent play, I know the Atlantic Division is tough, but is there ever a shot that we don't finish like last in the Atlantic? Can we overtake someone like the Senators before the season's out?
It is possible. We're trending in the right direction. You know, with the parity in the league right now, with these straight wins, we've actually gotten a lot closer to the likes of the Ottawa Senators and everything else like that. So it's really, really not impossible because I think we're playing the right way. We're getting our structure down set, you know, and if you want to have some consistent wins, you know, that's what you need, and I think that's what we're working on right now.
I think so too. Let's take a look at Zen Mysterio. Zen saying, Drouin's hands is amazing. His passing and his dekes are still elite, even if his shot needs a little help. He is still very good at passing. That's something we've seen his whole career, right? He still has that ability, but he seems to overthink himself a lot. Tonight, and especially the last couple weeks, he has looked like he's just been playing more of a free-flowing game. And that's what made him a good hockey player in the first place. Like I said, 12 assists in his last 12 games, really showing up. Dylan says, I've been waiting for a channel like this for so long, and I'm super excited and love that we have two really passionate people running it. Yeah, Dylan, like we said, we both love this channel. We both love the Habs, and we want to put out all the best possible content for you guys because, you know, we know there's some other really good Habs channels out there. There's a lot of them, but we are really glad that you guys choose us because we like to put out the highest quality stuff we can. And then we got Nick with a fire emoji. Ben says we're thinking the same. Yeah, I got that earlier. I got a question here, Jesse, from Austin. Question for Jesse. I don't know if you know who Austin is. He's targeting you a lot. Who is the best Canadian team this year, and why is it the Leafs? Do you have anything to say to Austin?
A little bit of slander coming in the chat. No, love you all the same, buddy. But we'll just have to see once playoff time comes around, and we'll circle back then.
Sounds good. Travis says re-sign Drouin. Maybe. I think we made our point clear. You can watch some of our last streams and videos talking about Jonathan Drouin a bit more in detail. He's playing well as of late, but we've kind of come to the conclusion that he might be better suited somewhere else, as much as I do like the play as of the last week or so. Zen says future first line, Caulfield, Suzuki, Bedard, a weekend dream. We got Brett coming in with all the D talent currently and coming up in the future. Does Jack-Eye fit in the big picture? I love him, but I worry about his future. That's an interesting question, Jesse. And it's one that I'm going to answer with, I think that if Joel Edmondson gets shipped out, Jack-Eye definitely has a spot probably on the third pairing. But, Montreal does have a lot of defensive prospects, but a lot of the guys that I think project as NHL players are on the NHL team already. Yeah, we have guys like, Jaden Struble in the NCAA, who's probably going to come up through, but some of the Habs' other D prospects, we just don't really know. So as of now, I don't see why Jack-Eye's not part of the long-term plan until these prospects prove Montreal right in picking them, if that makes sense. I think it's Jack-Eye's spot to lose. What do you think, Jesse?
I think Jack-Eye's a huge part of this team going forward. I think the organization recognizes his value in terms of, his defensive and offensive capabilities, standing up, for his teammates as well. So I think that he definitely has a big future here, but we're going to need to make a decision. It is a great point all the same about our defense. We saw Justin Barron getting our first goal tonight. We're starting to see him get hot and his offensive game kind of coming to life. So we're going to have to be mindful of how we're approaching our young defensemen in the future, but I'd hesitate rather to make a quick decision on one of these defensemen, because it's hard to say how exactly they're going to turn out in the future. Jordan Harris, Jack-Eye, Gooley, Justin Barron, and then not even speaking the likes of, Mailloux, Barron, Hudson coming up in maybe 2 years' time. So it's going to be stacked really quick, and, definitely Montreal management's going to have some tough decisions to make to be able to get these guys all in while still, of course, getting a couple experienced guys that you need in there as well.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even mention, of course, the likes of Hudson and Mailloux, who are obviously the Habs' top two prospects right now. But what I was sort of getting at is I think, exactly what you said, Jesse. Jack-Eye's such a big part of this team. He brings so much to the team culture, the physicality, that he's so important. It's going to be tough, but I think it is still his spot to lose at this point. Aragorn, which is kind of a funny name. I like that. Aragorn says the Leafs will win as many playoff series as Lake Canadiens this year. I love that take. Leafs going to win 0 playoff series. Oh boy, I cannot wait to see him lose again. But yeah, Jesse, I think that might just it might just be time to wrap up the stream on that note. Getting a little late here. We're at about 40 minutes for a post-game reaction. This is and we started late. But I think that this is going to have to do it. I got to be up in the morning. I know it's getting late where you are. So I think we're just going to leave that up to the chat. If you guys have any final things to say, to message, to anything you want to shout out, any players that you want us to quickly touch on before we end the stream, now's the time to do it. I'll give you guys just a minute or two there. I don't know what the delay is like. But Jesse, what do you think about this stream? This is a pretty fun one for our first duo post-game stream, hey?
Oh, it's always fun. Nice hearing from... friends, family, new friends, everything like that as well. So yeah, I'm definitely a fan of the live streams.
Yeah, Austin says great show tonight. Travis says thoughts on trading Anderson before the deadline. Travis, we've kind of mentioned that a couple times, especially in our full game live stream, and I don't expect you to go back and sift through it to find it, but I think Anderson, if he's going to be moved, we sort of settled on probably in the off season, because I feel like during the season it's a bit harder for teams to try and fit in that kind of longer term $5+ million contract of Anderson. Unless Kent Hughes gets a crazy offer, I think he's probably going to wait until the summer. Riley says Raphael Harvey-Pinard for Dubois. Yeah, I don't know if the Jets are going to bite on that so soon. I know we all know Raphael Harvey-Pinard is going to be a future Hall of Famer, but I don't know if the Jets are sold on it yet, so we'll have to wait and see. Ben says, excellent show, boys. Keep on rolling. Go Habs, go. Thank you, Ben. Thank you so much for the donation again, Ben. Ben and Nick and Jay and Lil Pump We appreciate the donations from all you guys very, very much. Again, we didn't expect anything, so the fact that any of you are willing to give us donations is phenomenal. So thank you again. Zen says getting the first goal of the game definitely helped Jake Allen, takes pressure off of him. Love the streams, love the content you guys always put out. Can't wait for the next one. Great stream. Good night. Thank you, Antoine. Yeah, Jesse, Jake Allen, when we score first, he seems to have better games, hey?
Yeah, no, that's it. That's the key to victory, eh? We're just going to need to keep that going moving forward.
That's right. Got to stay on them early. All right, guys. Well, that'll do it for this game reaction edition of Habs Digest. If you enjoyed, leave a like on the stream right now and subscribe to the channel. I didn't even shout out subscribing because we're so close to 4,000 subscribers. We can taste it. I hope some of you are maybe new here, maybe haven't hit that button yet, so do it now. Thank you very, very much for all the views. Aragorn, going to address that really quick. Could the X-Man play wing on the 4th? I don't know if San Luis is ready to try Jack out on the wing, but hey, maybe a front of the net screen man on the power play. Wouldn't put it past him. Thank you guys for watching. I'm your host, Josh Gosse, for my co-host, Jesse Poirier. We'll catch you in the next one.